Up next, it's time for All About Android. Florence Ion, Ron Richards, and myself sitting in on a Monday, although you're still going to get it on a Tuesday, so not a whole lot different there. So we're a little bit off our game tonight. I'll just admit it in advance, but it makes for a fun episode. We're going to be discussing Fitbit's Google Future, the next messaging showdown, the end of the Red Hydrogen 1, Moto G8 Plus, headed south, your email, and more up next, along with Burke behind the board on All About Android.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Plex. With Plex, you can organize and stream your personal collection of movies, TV shows, music, and photos anywhere on any device. Go to plex.tv/twit and enter code TWIT10 to get $10 off a lifetime Plex Pass subscription. This offer applies to new subscribers only. And by LegalZoom. Make sure your important legal documents are complete with LegalZoom. Visit LegalZoom.com and enter AAA at checkout for special savings. Yep. That was about the... That was the best music ever to play right there.
It's going to make it in the show, right? Is that a best of?
Oh, my goodness. Yes, I will make sure to make a note. That ends up at the end of the episode.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, now we've got it. All right, this is how we start an episode on Monday. Welcome to All About Android, episode 444, recorded on October 28th for Tuesday, October 29th, 2019. Your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
There he is. And who else is on the line?
Florence Ion.
All right. Oh, see, I thought that was going to go at the end of the episode, but I'm pretty certain it might actually go at the beginning.
Hey, either way, it works.
Yes. Okay. So right off the top, what are we doing here? This show is recording one day early.
What are we doing here?
Well, that's a really good question. Obviously, we needed more time. No. There are a number of fires happening in the Bay Area, and so it's kind of throwing a whole lot of lives out of whack. Thankfully, here in Petaluma, we're not directly affected, except for the fact that there's these like looming threats of power outages. There, PG&E, who controls the electricity around the area, is shutting down power in certain areas, and supposedly one might start tomorrow night, Tuesday, at the time of the recording, although this publishes on Tuesday. Things are going to get a little confusing. Anyways, we figured to protect ourselves and make sure that the show goes out, we're going to record one day earlier. So we're recording this on Monday. You're still going to get it on Tuesday through the magic of podcast. That's why we're here.
Those PG&E, a friend of mine, his power went out yesterday, and it's going to be out for 5 days, they said. It's crazy. Crazy what's going on there in California.
It really is. I went to, I take my dog, Sugar, to the dog park every day, usually, and went there today.
Is your dog's name actually Sugar, or do you just call it Sugar?
Her name is Sugar. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
That's her name.
Either way, you win there.
Sometimes she's Shug. Hey, Shug, come here.
Yeah,
but anyways, went there, and usually it's just this gigantic empty parking lot, and now it's filled with RVs, filled with people just camping out because they have nowhere else to go.
Seeing that too.
So it's kind of craziness around here right now, 3 years in a row at this time of year. It's kind of depressing, actually. I don't want to think about that right now. My heart goes out to everyone who's displaced, everyone who's losing their homes, of which there have been a number of those already, and I really hope that they get a grasp on the fires soon. So cross fingers. In the meantime, we're going to talk about Android, and we've got, on the ones and twos behind the deck, we've got Burke joining us today. Burke, you are the man. Thanks for hopping in to be our technical director and button pusher for the evening.
Ooh.
I don't even know if you have a microphone on you, but if you do,
you're welcome. I didn't think about the promise of Burke doing the Android news bumper. This should be entertaining.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. I don't know that we're doing the bumpers.
We're doing the bumpers.
Are we?
Oh, yeah, there it is.
We are. Okay, Burke, we're going to the news. Let's do it then. This could be interesting.
I'm not going to butcher it. I swear to goodness. Here we go. Android news.
Wait a minute, what are we? Whoa, this is. Oh,
that?
and you found the super special Victor creation of the pop-up camera version of Android News. I forgot that even existed.
Did he just spoil a Victor surprise?
No, I think that was a surprise already. We've played that one before.
Oh, I've never seen. I must have not been on the show. I've never seen that before. Anyway,
Victor has plenty of surprises that so many, in fact, at this point that we've lost track of them.
well, I can tell you what one of his surprises isn't.
What?
Working on a Monday night.
That's right, because he's not here. Anyways, Burke, we're happy to have you. Great job.
Hey, Burke.
Flo, you got the first story.
Thank you very much.
I do. And you know what? It has been a story because let me tell you, we have been talking on this show about what the heck is going on with Wear OS and Google's wearables trajectory. Well, we may soon have an answer. So what we were talking about today on the internets was Alphabet might someday soon own Fitbit, according to sources from Reuters. So an offer has been made. No price has been leaked. There's no guarantee at this point that the deal will happen. It's just simply that Google's interested and has made an offer. As you will recall, in January, the Fossil Group agreed to sell its smartwatch IP to Google for $40 million, which, again, saying that number out loud feels paltry in comparison to what some other things are worth. But, listen, this piece of news got a lot of folks talking today. A lot of folks actually got pretty excited about it. I even saw some people tweet time to dust off the wearables notebook, time to, get back into that swing of things and reporting on that news. So I don't know. How do you guys feel having an Android Fitbit smartwatch? Maybe.
Ron, go.
Oh, I was going to say, if anybody we all know that the way wearables played out was in two camps. Watch manufacturers making the 21st century watches that have smart capabilities and fitness, right? And the major driver of sales is fitness. And Samsung has been successful. Others have been successful there. Google doesn't really have an entry, a piece of hardware to accompany their Google Fit, so the Google Fit app. So this makes sense in that degree. Buy the best in the business. If you're going to, and that's what Google often does. If anything, this shows kind of a bit of a surrender for Google's internal kind of wear strategy. It's like, well, the only way for us to catch up is to buy someone who's been doing all the work for the past 5 years.
That's kind of how it feels, right? Like when I read this, I was like, okay, so who is this better for? Is this better for Fit? Is this good for Fitbit, or is good for Fitbit shareholders? But I suppose so. Are people at Fitbit happy, to be swallowed up potentially? None of this is actually happening yet. This is just reports of this happening. But do people that are working on the Fitbit project, are they happy about this? Do you think? So we're going to go to Google? Because you know what happens to things that go to Google.
Their market share, what was that? Man, I forgot what it was, but their market share is, they have a lot of competition on the market right now because it's not just them.
Garmin.
They have a good chunk of it, but the Apple Watch is surpassing everybody.
That's it,
with its abilities. And, it's the only thing that's available for iPhone users. So that's a given to go there.
Yep.
And Samsung is doing really darn well with its wearables. And I feel like that has been the viable option for Android users. And even though Fitbit had they have the Versa and they have, they have different form factors. You can wear a band versus a watch. It's still limited in capacity. In terms of what you can do with it. I think people do want apps and not just health, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, well, and I think if you get someone like a Fitbit, you get the health thing covered, and then you can expand and build upon that. Looking at Fitbit, I don't know much about the world of finance and all this sort of stuff, but before this news broke, their stock was hovering around for $4.50 or so, and they've got a market cap of $1.4 billion. So they are not as valuable as they were when they IPO'd 4 years ago, right? They've definitely been on the decline from a business standpoint. So it could be a good acquisition target, and it helps Google, kind of get back in the game on wearables.
And just looking right now, the stock jumped from about
jumped like to
450 to like 550.
Yes. Yeah, like 564. I think it's what it closed at.
That's like a 20% jump, a 30% jump on the day. So,
but I mean, the stock is $5.
Yeah, totally. It's pretty low.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested. I do think that there's something to what you said as far as Ron, as far as kind of like an admission of like, all right, well, what we got going really isn't working, or maybe it's that in combination with the Fossil IP, in combination with this Pixel Watch that Google is supposedly working on. Who knows?
Well, the bigger question is if you look at Fitbit, is that Fitbit is a large hardware like it's a hardware manufacturer.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, and so you have a similar. I mean, it's not so much an acquisition, but the strategic investment in HTC has worked because it gave us this line of pixels. So we assume. Yeah. And so could acquiring Fitbit's hardware, all their their supply chain, all their manufacturing, all that sort of stuff, help a Apple Watch competitor that is branded Google and owned by Google and sold in the Google store and not an OEM solution.
Yes, because Fitbit has all the infrastructure for health tracking that Google has been lacking. And now if you follow, I forget her name, but there's this great reporter who writes for CNBC and she covers all the health tech. And if you follow, reporters who are in that vein, like they always talk about what Apple is doing and who they're acquiring for health tracking to add like all these features to the Apple Watch. Imagine having that finally on Wear OS, like EKG sensors or just like the ability. I'm just thinking really far ahead, but Fitbit has had that infrastructure for so long and they've got the step counter down, like they've got it down to a T. So why not bring that in, bundle it with the style and grace of the Fossil group?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's IP there that is like coming into play in terms of like styles and different variables. And making that available. I don't know, it could be. It's also a bragging right, like Google plus Fitbit, a name that you know.
Yeah, you're talking about Christina Farr. Is that the?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
It's funny.
I didn't want to say the wrong person.
On her timeline, she points out Google previously acquired the Misfit Group from Fossil, and then someone called it Misfitbit. So that'll be the new name.
Right, and let's not forget that Google's health app is called Fit.
Oh,
right? So you've
already
got Fit in the mix. So
it's all just coming into play.
Fitbits mix.
Misfitbit Fit is the name of the app.
Google Fit Misfitbit.
Nothing sounds like a word anymore.
You know what Fitbit has that Google Fit does not? Period tracking. So
thanks, Flo.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just putting it out there, like you want to be thought of as a watch for.
It's true. Absolutely.
Managing your health and like knowing what's going on with your body. I mean, Fitbit is there.
Is actually doing that.
There. Google's not there.
Yeah.
So
right. Well,
there are lots of Android apps that can do that, Flo.
Yes, it's true, but you want an integrate. I mean,
I know.
Using 7 different.
And I mean, the Apple Watch has that, right? As far as I know,
they've had it for a long time.
Yeah, they've had it for a very long time.
Huge thing at one of their keynotes.
So. Absolutely. All right, Misfitbit Fit will be the name of the app once that releases. All right. Whatever that is. Okay, so this is a fun one. Android messaging. Yes, there's more news in the world of Android messaging. It sucks so bad that now
how bad does it?
that now the U.S. carriers have banded together to create their own RCS standard. This is something that Google really wanted to do and did, and hoped that the carriers would kind of jump on its implementation of RCS. It's based on the universal the universal standard. But no, they're doing something that they've called the Cross Carrier Messaging Initiative, CCMI for short. It's AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and Sprint. And they have all kind of joined together on their own RCS. In their statement, they never mention Google at all, although some reports say that, Google and Samsung will both kind of be brought into the fold so that things like Android messages will be compatible with their RCS standard. It's just so backwards from what I think Google expected to happen, which is, we did all the work for this RCS. Why don't you come on to our, play in our field? And instead they're saying, no, you play in our field. And there's all 4 of us over here, so you come over here now. So now the carriers will control that. They are creating their own messaging app that will ship by default on their phones, all 4 carrier phones, by next year, apparently, that supports this. And you know how carrier apps are just always of the best quality, just always so good. So, yeah. What do you guys think?
I was going to make a joke there, but I decided not to. Right. Can we just get a RC? I'm gonna yell again. Can we just get an RCS standard that all the carriers and Google and Apple all agree to use, that's universal and shared amongst everyone, and let the users actually get a win for once?
And I think the carriers believe that's what this is going to be. If they can get Google and Samsung on board, which of course they are, of course Google and Samsung are going to support this, then you've got most everyone playing in the same field. Who you still don't have at this point is Apple. Apple has made no comments whatsoever about support for RCS, nor do they really have to, because they've got iMessage. So if they got Apple, that would be a huge win. But there's no indication that Apple's going to support this.
But then I also wonder what's the difference between this carrier solution and Google solution. At the end of the day, if the RCS standard is a standard,
that's a great
who
cares?
Point.
Yeah, that's a really great point.
And if Google wants to make Google Messages app using RCS and adding whatever bells and whistles they had planned to on top of that standard, great, cool. Then
actually, you put it that way, that's kind of a win, because everybody is playing the same game.
Let's look at the glass as half full.
Yeah. Yeah, and if the standard, if the RCS implementation that the carriers are putting forth still qualifies and satisfies the things that Google wanted out of its own standard, then why does it matter? It's a really good point. I think you've convinced me, Ron.
Forest for the trees. Now just Apple needs to get their head out of the spaceship and play along.
So this is going to let's see here. Of course, the overall goal of this is to replace SMS with RCS, so you get all the benefits, things like typing indicators and high-res photo sharing and stuff like that. Still not going to be end-to-end encrypted, and that's going to be a huge, a huge sticking point for people. iMessages is, of course, encrypted, and this would not be encrypted. But SMS is also not encrypted. So if this is a replacement for SMS, I guess it's kind of like the same as far as that's concerned. Although in this day and age, you probably want a little bit more than that.
So why can't they offer end-to-end encryption here? Like, how hard is end-to-end encryption actually? It's 2019.
Yeah, great question. I don't know why they can't.
Maybe they don't want to. Or
That's true.
They can't.
They are the carriers. But maybe they want access to all that data.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
because one of the things that they're touting here is that this is going to be really good for connecting people to businesses, so that instead of having to call, you can just chat right directly with businesses through this RCS standard. And I'm not entirely sure how this makes that better than other messaging systems or what, but so maybe they just don't want you to. But even when Google was figuring it out for themselves, what's that? What?
Businesses or the government?
Well, they say businesses.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm in conspiracy mode here. I know.
You're wearing the ears. You're wearing the conspiracy ears.
These are my conspiracy ears. Yes, they're cute and they have faux diamonds on them. They're a lot better than an aluminum hat.
I like it. I like those ears. So anyways, we'll see. I will say, though, that everyone should check out on 9 to 5 Google. There is a walkthrough on if you've got Google Messages and you're on a carrier, and when you go into settings in Messages, it has a little chat section, and you try and tap that. And if your carrier doesn't support it officially, it won't show you anything. It'll say this is unsupported. 9 to 5 Google posted this little walkthrough on how you can force it. And you can turn on chat features. And I did it earlier today, and now I have chat working on my phone, whereas it wasn't before. And it was not hard. It took me like 2 minutes. And so, which begs the question, like, well, if it's that dang easy to enable these features, like, why can't Google just say, bing, let's just do it? So there's something going on with the carriers.
So it only works with other Android users, though, or other RCS users.
Well, yeah. Everybody's got to be on the same RCS.
And it's a bummer because all my friends have iPhones, so I never know when they're typing. And then I have like the 2 friends who have Android phones, and I'm like, yes.
This is what it's like for all those Apple users using their iMessages. And that's the problem, though, Flo. That's it right there. So everybody on Android gets it, and that's going to be amazing. But then we, at least here in the U.S., I know a ton of people with iPhones, and I'm not going to get those features when I'm chatting with them. And they're going to send me a video, and it's going to be this low-res garbage piece of crap.
Oh my gosh, the low-res videos drive me nuts. And it's
like punishment.
Yeah,
punishment.
Yes.
It's totally punishment. It reminds me of watching a Real Player video back in like the 90s.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. And I'm like, can you please just send me an Instagram, because I'm never going to be able to see this the way that you want me to, this cute video of your dog.
Totally.
Just everybody get on WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal or something that does anything better. I can't. We need to move on. I'm getting so upset.
It's our punishment for being green bubbles.
I know.
Yep.
That's miserable. All right, well, there's nothing better we like here on All About Android other than numbers. And last week at the Android Dev Summit, if you might remember in last week's episode, we had Florina and Nick on talking about the Android Dev Summit and all the fun stuff like that. Yeah. Google announced an update on Treble there and said this year, right before Android 10 was released, Google said Android 9 was on 22.6% of all devices. Now, to give you context to that, compared to 2018, before Android 9 was released, Android 8 was on 8.9% of all devices, and Android 7 took 18 months to reach that same 22.6 position that Android 9 did in just a year. So it's making improvements. Whether you want to admit it, whether or not they're as fast or dramatic as you want them to be, Treble does seem to be working. I mean, with nearly 25% of the market having Android 9 by the time Android 10 comes out, that's not too bad. Some other little tidbits that came out of the Dev Summit, the release of Android Studio 4.0, and it includes an early dev preview of Jetpack Compose, which promises to a way to create modern UI with Kotlin, similar to Google's Flutter. And go back and listen to last week's episode with Florina and Nick if you missed it. There's a lot of fun stuff talking about Android Studio and Jetpack and Kotlin and all that great stuff. And it's a bit of an understatement to say, but developers are excited. This was some exciting stuff. So what do you guys think of 22.9% penetration for Android 9?
Better, but man.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Better, but not best.
I expect more. I want more. That's what I want more.
I have no context for iOS adoption numbers of their updates. I have no context. Like we assume because Apple controls it, every iPhone magically updates. But
yeah, that's true.
I'm fairly certain a lot of people ignore those red dots on their apps, and I'm fairly certain they're going to ignore an OS update.
Yeah. Yeah, people probably do. I just it's totally an improvement, but the problem is that for so very long it's been so horrible that even looking at 22.6% 1 year later is impressive. And I get it. There's a ton of devices. It's just hard to be super enthusiastic about that. 22% a year later is it's still not good. I just wish there was ways to get it better, but I'm happy that it's improving. I
will eat some poop right now because I just searched for iOS adoption rate, and as of August, 88% of all devices are using iOS 12.
Yeah, I know those numbers are usually pretty high.
Yeah, and 7% are using iOS 11 and 5% are using earlier.
And I mean, like salt into the wound when a new version actually rolls out, like those numbers jump quickly. Like it's not just, you know what I mean? Like, so by comparison, it's just, and that's the challenge. That's the fault is you kind of can't compare the two approaches because they're vastly different, obviously. Yeah. But at the same time, it's just like, but I just want it better than it is. Is that so wrong?
No, it's not so wrong.
All right. There we go. Flo, you got an email?
We got an email. Hey, if you want to send us an email, you can send us a texty email at AAA@twit.tv, or you can leave us a voicemail. We still have that hotline. It's waiting for you. It's hot.
Act now.
Yeah, act now. 347 show AAA. Sorry, there's nobody at the other end. But the good news is nobody's going to charge you to call that number. So
True.
Please call it. Leave us voicemail.
At least it's not a 1976 number.
Whoa, hey-o.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, you remember those?
Yes. Also,
Anyway.
now my room is yellow. Okay. So
No kidding.
this one comes from Craig in Edinburgh, Scotland, which is where our goat master Mateo is from, because that's all I think of when I think of Edinburgh. I think this topic comes up every so often on the show: how to revive the time to leave notification, which used to come from Google Now. The one on my screenshot is from Maps and is called Time to Leave under Settings, Notification, Getting Around. I don't see it much, but I think that's because it only comes up when it's actually time to leave instead of the old Google Now, which would give me more warning. And Craig, I know what you're talking about. My time to leave typically shows up if I have a calendar event with a location in it. But it does, and it shows up on the front, the main Pixel page of the Pixel launcher. But unfortunately, it doesn't really give me, actually, it doesn't give me time to leave. It just tells me I have 15 minutes until my next appointment, which I guess is not really helpful if I live an hour away from my appointment.
I'm pasting the screenshot that I forgot to put in there. So, Burke, it's in the field now. If you go into the spreadsheet, you'll find it next to the
I'm going to go
email.
and try and enable it now because I'd like to leave the house on time.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how Waze, I had pointed out that Waze has this option, and I forgot that it has it in Maps. You can see there in the notifications, Maps now, time to leave for Halloween at Montgomery, leave by
that's not bad.
1750.
I mean, leave by 1750, and it's 1742. I think that's fair. It's giving them...
So that's like...
It's giving them 8 minutes. That's more than enough time.
Depending on how far away, yeah. Totally. If it's doing the estimation of location and stuff and then scaling it back, that's like ideal. Right. I feel like.
I don't know if I have that option.
Yeah. Well.
Under notifications.
So let's see here. Some Maps settings. Everybody now, let's go into notifications.
This is science. What we're doing right now.
Yeah. All right. So getting around. Did you find it?
Did you do that?
Did you find it? Time to leave. Get reminders when it's time to leave based on events from your Gmail and calendar. Yeah, this is my Maps app.
I get this every morning. It tells me to leave to catch the subway, and like it's completely accurate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the way I've done that is that I told Google Maps where my office is and where my home is.
Right.
And it has. And I never told it what time I leave, and I don't use my calendar. I use a different calendaring system than what's off my phone, but it has picked up my travel enough that it knows that around 8:15 I want to leave. And so it'll say leave now to get to work by 8:30 or whatever it is. So it's actually very smart when I think about it.
Nice.
In my experience. So
if you don't want to use Waze, you don't have to. You can use Google Maps.
I don't want to use Waze. I have an irrational desire, like I don't use Waze, and for no reason. I know it's great, but I just don't.
I'm the same. It's just, again, and I've tried. I actually had a time where I've just used it for a couple of weeks, and it's just too bubbly. I don't need that much happiness in my maps, you know? I want my maps to be dull.
Seriously, I want my old Rand McNally Atlas that I had in my car that was folded in half.
I want my MapQuest printed out piece of paper.
Yeah.
Scotch tape to the top of
MapQuest.
3 sheets.
What happened to you?
Remember, you could print it out so that every turn it would show you like a blown up portion of the map at that corner or whatever.
Yeah, that
was the future.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of the future, let's take a break and thank our futuristic sponsor of All About Android. It's Plex, one of my favorite sponsors of the Twit Network. And you know why? It's because Plex brings together all the media that matters to you in a single app. And this is true. I can attest to it. And it's available on any device, no matter where you are, which is also true. Because as long as you have the Plex app on your phone or your tablet, you can take your media anywhere. You can organize and stream for free your personal collection of movies, TV shows, music, podcasts, web series, news, and more. You can give your media the royal treatment it deserves with the Plex Pass. With premium features, you can bring out the best in whatever media you have. With Plex Pass, an antenna, a tuner, put those all together and you can stop paying for cable and enjoy great TV and even record free HD broadcast channels right to your library. It's amazing. Become a cord cutter like me, and Plex helps you do it. You get offline accessibility with mobile sync. You can sync your movies, shows, music, and photos to your mobile devices for offline enjoyment wherever you go. And you can take advantage of something that I recently set up, Premium Music. Where you can enjoy premium music features like lyrics and custom curated playlists based on your music preferences. I load my entire local MP3 library into Plex, and now I can listen to my music streaming from my computer at home on my device thanks to Plex and their music integration. It's amazing. What's also amazing is premium photos. You can create beautiful photo albums so you can easily customize and share your favorite memories. You can get a cinema-like experience when you're watching your personal movie collection, including trailers, cast interviews, behind-the-scene features, and more. Multiple people need to use Plex. You're not by yourself. You got a family. You got other people you want to get on there. It's so much easier to switch users with Plex Home. You can create customized managed accounts and make switching users easy with Plex Home. And they even have parental controls, so you can safely let your little ones enjoy it as well. With Plex Pass, you also get the Plex Pass perks, where you get exclusive access to promos and discounts on partner products, and you get to use the newest features before everyone else. There are even more features such as loudness leveling, sweet fades, timeline view, and advanced audio features. Are you ready for your Plex Pass? And I got to tell you, I am a proud Plex Pass card holder. I signed up for Plex Pass as soon as it came out, and I've never regretted it. It's one of the best purchases I've made. It's fantastic. And this is your chance to get on board and join me. Plex is offering Twit listeners $10 off the lifetime Plex Pass subscription for new subscribers only when you go to plex.tv/twit. Enter code TWIT10. That's plex.tv/twit and enter code TWIT10. And we thank Plex for sponsoring this episode of All About Android and helping keep my media library organized and accessible. Thanks, Plex. You're the best.
Thank you, Plex.
Yay.
All right, Burke, you happen to have a hardware bumper of some sort? If not, it's okay. You don't have to. We can be without. But I'm curious to know what you'd come up with. I'm hearing lots of grunts over there. There's like, oh, yes, this one, whatever it is. I don't know.
Do it.
Doesn't matter.
What is this?
Pretty sure this is a title sequence meant to look like Stranger Things. I can't. Cool. But that's good enough. That works as a hardware bumper.
Listen, it's Halloween week.
Yeah, totally. That's true. It's Halloween week. This works. Burke, you're nailing it today, man. Yes. I love this, like, who knows what bumper we're going to get game that we're doing today. It's pretty awesome. All right. We'll start with something really scary. Foldable phones. They're cool. But folding once is boring. TCL's prototype phone folds 2 times,
What? That's so scary.
Yeah, it's weird. It folds 2 times, not just the one that we're used to, even though none of us owns one. Folds out into a 10-inch tablet. Look at that thing. Looks like the letter Z when it's sort of folded up, or number 2 or an S. But apparently this is just a prototype. It's not an official phone. TCL's kind of working on this right now. There isn't even really a working display in this device that was shown to CNET. So I'd say don't get too excited about this. Or is there anything to get excited about, Ron? Is this the future? I know we've talked about this before, but never a 2-folding phone.
I mean, why stop at 1 fold? That's my question. I don't know why I didn't think of it already months ago.
I mean, if 1's good, why not 2? Why not 3?
Why not? You know those little fortune teller things we made in elementary school?
Oh, yeah.
I would like to see a phone folded like that.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, why not? We should be able to do this.
Why not?
If you scroll down a little bit on that article, it'll show it what it looks like when it's folded into the phone form factor, and it's a little brutal. It's about as thick as an encyclopedia. Yeah, there you go.
Thick as an encyclopedia is an exaggeration.
Okay, all right.
That
Maybe not
that thick.
Well, that's not that thick. I beg to differ. Maybe not encyclopedia thick, but it's thick.
I mean, it's thick. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Come on.
Keep in mind.
You're telling me that sweet sci-fi spacescape isn't cool?
I mean, it's cool if it was on an actual display, but it's like a printout.
It looks as thick as like a remote. Like
Look at that.
An old remote control.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. That's pretty thick. It does have its own type of hinges. They call it a dragon hinge that folds in and a butterfly hinge that folds out.
That's even cooler.
Okay. Is it because of the dragon?
It's got a dragon hinge and a butterfly hinge.
Yes.
Like, talk about two sides of the coin, yin and yang. It's balance. I love it.
All right. So TCL might be the phone brand for you when they actually make a phone.
Sign me up. Sign me up. Well,
Roger.
they're going to have to knock off Huawei, which potentially could be my new favorite phone because the Huawei Mate X is going to be shipping very soon.
Oh, finally.
Another foldable phone. It's shipping in November to China only at this time. It's still $2,400. It's going to include 5G capability because 5G is like a juggernaut that you can't stop. And it's also an updated Kirin 990 instead of the originally announced Kirin 980. So you get 10 more Kirins for the same price.
I think that's how you do that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Huawei says a global launch plan is under review, which is it sounds like a threat.
Oh.
But yeah, Huawei Mate X is a foldable that will be real in just several weeks.
In China.
Which is exciting. It only folds once though.
Oh, okay. So does that like automatically it's out of the running for your next phone?
It's a little old tech. It's a little old tech.
Yeah. Already
obsolete. It's already obsolete before it came out.
It also has the screen on the outside when it folds versus
which is cool.
Galaxy Fold, which is like the book fold. It's on the inside. So I'm thinking that makes, from a durability standpoint, from what we've seen in the Galaxy Fold, I mean, aren't you a little worried about that display if it's always exposed on the outside? I'm a little worried about that.
Hey man, you got to be ready to go with it. You got to be you make a phone to be used.
Yeah, for $2,400, you just use that sucker. Who cares?
I want my screen to be exposed. I want my data all the time.
What do you think, Flo?
I want my screen to be exposed and my messages to be unencrypted.
Oh,
on the wild side.
You're living wild.
Love it.
All right.
Trying to make this a scary version of All About Android. So we're talking about all the scary things that could happen with your hardware.
Your room is really yellow. I just have to say, like,
I know. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I think it kind of blends in with the Halloween edition thing we've got going. It's like a light effect.
All my studio lights are packed away. In the next coming weeks, I'll have hopefully I'll be back in the studio, hopefully, but when I'm not, I'll have better lighting. So for now, this is what you get.
I think it's great. I didn't mean to allude otherwise. I think it's fantastic. I'm not sure what's fading on the screen right now, but Burke's having fun.
It looks like a thermostat?
Is that a thermostat? Oh, it is. Why is there a thermostat fading onto the screen?
It's just a non sequitur. I love it. It's genius.
I think Burke's just having fun. And he should have fun.
You should all have fun. We're doing All About Android on a Monday.
That's right.
Topsy-turvy day.
This is what we do.
As far as I'm concerned. Okay, so speaking of topsy-turvy, actually this isn't a topsy-turvy thing. This is a good thing for folks who want to save some money. So the Moto G series, we always talk as the Moto G series as being like that model of phone that you don't want to spend a lot of money on, but you want a phone that's just like a solid, good phone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So Motorola announced the latest Moto G8 Plus. And from what we're seeing across the web, it looks like a pretty nice looking phone. 6.3-inch Full HD Plus IPS display with a teardrop notch, Snapdragon 665 processor on the inside, 4 gigs of RAM, and 64 gigs of storage. Also has a triple rear camera system, which includes a 48 megapixel main camera, a 16 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 5 megapixel depth. And if you head over to at&t developers, you will see that they posted a bunch of test shots with it. I guess it has like a night mode. Colors are pretty. If you're taking pictures of like high contrast colors, they're pretty contrasted. One caveat, though, the ultra wide doesn't actually snap wide photos. It just takes wide video.
Oh.
So think of how you could leverage that, I suppose, if you decide you want to buy this.
Or some
it's got
sweet,
4,000
some sweet videos at the skate park.
Yeah.
I was actually just thinking that, Ron. I was like, skate park videos, actually. Although, aren't those more fisheye lens?
They're more fisheye. You're right. They are more fisheye.
Back in the day. That's not a bad. That's a shot taken with night sight that we have up here on screen, and it's not bad.
There we go. That was the before, and this is the after.
Taken with night sight.
There you go. Okay, that's better.
A lot of detail in the foreground versus the before photo. So these cameras are getting better, folks. I mean, this is a 239-pound phone, around 307 USD. That's not bad performance. I mean, that's about the price of what, a Pixel 3a?
Sure. Well, yeah, 3a is about 400.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit more.
4,000 milliamp battery in it, though. I recently told somebody that if battery life is what they wanted, to just forego ever owning a Pixel or any flagship phone and just like buying a Moto G series because they have that one phone that has 5,000 milliamps and 15-watt fast charge. So you're not waiting around forever.
Okay. The G series, I think, of the last couple have had like mixed feels, mixed reviews, I think. So some are thinking that this is going to be a return to greatness. Looks like a pretty good phone. Nice.
We want them
selection of cameras.
to take care when they're making these particular phones and not have it feel like they're just producing them for the sake of producing phones. Especially because Motorola, this has been their tier. This is where they sell phones. And so you can't imagine they'd just be like, new one. It's time. Let's just put some stuff in it. You don't want that.
Yeah. I mean, but it's a good question that you pose. Like if this is just like, let's say, $50 cheaper than the Pixel 3a, like what is the recommendation there? I don't know. It's hard not to recommend the 3a in that price point. But the G series, the Moto G series has a good reputation behind it. So there's something to be found there for sure. Let's see here. Oh, how about this? You remember that wildly unsuccessful red Hydrogen 1 phone? That phone.
I love this story, by the way. I can't wait. I've been waiting all day for this.
This is the phone that cost $1,295 to start at launch because it had a holographic display.
It's amazing.
Holographic display. Just you don't even need to go there. No one needs to try that again. Like that has proven to be a failure. Anyways, the company founder, Jim Jannard, there we go. Autocorrect said January. I'm like, I know that's wrong. Is apparently retiring. He's been with the company, I think, 30 years, since 99, and he's retiring. Says a few health issues are behind that, so I hope he's doing okay. But he says that in so doing, he is shutting down the hydrogen project. Says the Hydrogen 1 will continue to be supported, but there will be no more hydrogen phones. And I think we all know why, because it was such a failure.
There's more. We get through the rest of the information, and then I have my thoughts.
So they had promised some modules that were going to be connected to the sucker, which was kind of a really big deal for people that are like, oh, I love red cameras. Could you imagine having a red phone that, can connect with some red camera components and you'd have amazing pictures and everything? They promised all these modules. They never came to be. We're probably not going to see those at this point. I think almost definitely you're not going to see them. Earlier this year, you might remember from the show, we talked about how they had promised big changes coming to the hydrogen program. That's likely not going to happen. If they were working on a sequel, I think it's safe to say that it's done. The whole red hydrogen dream is over.
Yeah. And if he's been with the company since 99, that's 20 years, not 30. But even then, that's a long time. And if he has health issues, I feel awful for him, and I hope he's better and all that sort of stuff. It's got to suck that he's a company founder and he's got to step down and retire. That's got to be rough on him. Yeah. But this was clearly a vanity pet project. that like they had created this company that had massive success in filmmaking and making these amazing cameras. That remember when Red came out, like when the Red camera came out in the early 2000s, and it was like, I remember it was like right out, because I graduated college in '99 when Red started, and it was a couple years later that you started hearing rumblings of this Red camera and the move to digital, and it was amazing and all this sort of stuff. And I remember I was at Revision 3 when it finally came out, and when we finally shot with one, it was amazing and just mind-blowing. And now you look at film production, you know, and like everyone's using this camera. It's like it literally changed filmmaking. And clearly the guy's like, we're going to do that with phones, and didn't know how the phone business works, and
obviously
either got bad advice or talked to some consultants or whomever it was, and we clearly got what was a bomb with this holographic device. And you got to feel bad for the guy that he's got to stop it, that they're shutting down this program. But the fact that he's stepping down and the cameras are continuing but the phone is stopping proves that this was just a vanity project.
That's a really great point. I haven't considered that. I mean,
yeah.
Flo, were you in the studio when I had the hydrogen one? Did you see the holographic display?
I don't remember, but I was just going to say that, you know what, he got a lot farther than a lot of us do with our own projects, so at least...
Fair.
All right, fair enough. Yeah.
Yep.
Just trying to put a good spin on it for him, you know, and I know he's leaving because he's sick, and you want to think the humanity aspect of it. At least you got to try out something, even if it didn't completely work.
No, I will say, as someone who is struggling with a hardware startup of my own, it's very difficult, and the fact that they even shipped any of these phones should be applauded. So
sure, they had recently cut the price down from $12.95 to $6.45. Now we know why. Or maybe that wasn't why, but it's
wow, $625. That's
still too expensive. Still too expensive for this phone.
It is, but
the specs were horrible in it. It was so outdated when it released. It was so behind the times. Like literally all it had was the holographic display that was just not good. It cut the resolution in half. It just did not look good. But hey, you're right. Got further than any of us have with our phone projects that don't exist. That's right. Let's take a break, and then we're going to jump in some apps and then the arena. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by LegalZoom. Running your own business is not easy, obviously. We just kind of talked about that. But getting help with the day-to-day challenges that you face definitely can help. That's why business owners all around the country turn to LegalZoom. Over the past 18 years, LegalZoom has helped more than 2 million business owners get started. But every entrepreneur knows getting started is just the beginning of your journey. What happens along the way will determine your success. And that's what LegalZoom's network of independent attorneys and tax professionals can help with. Knowing where to turn for advice on trademarks, tax law changes, and reviewing contracts puts you at an advantage. Plus, you're going to save money by avoiding hourly fees, since LegalZoom is not a law firm. So don't get distracted by legal hurdles and business questions as the year winds down. Go to LegalZoom.com today, and you can find out all the different ways that they can help your business. And make sure when you're there, don't forget to enter the promo code AAA in the box at checkout. That's LegalZoom.com, promo code AAA, LegalZoom, where life meets legal. And we thank LegalZoom for their support of All About Android. And now we get to see what we come up with. We'll roll the dice. It's time for apps.
You're practicing motion sense gestures.
Here, I'm just going to throw this Pixel 4.
Don't do that.
Okay. No, I'm not going to
I
do
thought
that.
you were getting an orange one.
No, I got the white one. It's got an orange button, though.
All right, so if you are following the world of Android apps this week, you saw that Google unleashed a bevy of my favorite category, quote unquote, digital well-being apps onto the world. These are from Google's kind of experimental division, and here's a rundown of all the apps that they released. Some of these are interesting. So Morph is a launcher to help with focus by creating modes and assigning apps to them, and they switch according to time or location. So your phone morphs based on where you are and what you're doing, what time of day it is. If you're at work, you get different apps. If you're at home, you get different apps. Here, Jason has Morph. You can see it.
Yeah.
It's quite colorful.
I haven't really set it up yet, but the walkthrough here, you can kind of see like different modes.
You set up one that was keeping you from seeing our notifications.
Oh yeah, we can talk. We can talk about that in a second. You're right. I did, but it has different kind of like home screens based on where you happen to be. All kind of stuff.
More a location and time of day context to your launcher is quite interesting. I use different apps between 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. when I'm at the office than I do at home. Not seeing Netflix and not seeing other apps when I'm at work and seeing the productivity apps. That is very interesting. I might actually give more of a test drive. I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah, so like I'm setting up work home screen. What are the apps that I want to appear when I'm at work? And I would select them and then they would appear on that screen. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to replace my home launcher right now, but that's what it is.
Cool. All right, so that's Morph. Next up is Desert Island, where you pick your 7 Desert Island apps to focus on just those apps in 24 hours. So so assume you're stuck on a desert island and you can only have 7 apps. Which ones would they be? And Jason has chosen ExpressVPN.
Because on a desert island, you don't want hackers.
Well, hang on. Why did you choose Find My Device when you're on a desert island and if you lose your device, you pretty much have all day to look for it?
Because this ties into why my notifications weren't showing. I installed this on my device to show off on Tech News Weekly last week before I got the Pixel 4. And then when I transferred all of my data from my 3 to my 4, it retained some of the settings on these things. So these were the apps that I did on the show, like at random. And apparently it like held onto them. So apparently it still knows that during that show, I picked Docs and ExpressVPN and Family Link and Evernote and Find My Device as my Desert Island apps because I was just like picking at random.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
All right. So Desert Island is cool. So you just pick 7 apps and you have to use them for 24 hours. This one's interesting. Postbox stops notifications and bundles them at specific times of the day. So for example, only show me my notifications on the top of the hour or at 5 o'clock every day or whatever it is. That's kind of neat. It makes you stay focused. It doesn't allow you to get interrupted. I tell people at work all the time, the biggest asset you have is your attention. And notifications steal away from that. So this is it. I like this app. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, this one I got into big trouble with because I realized, okay, so my next delivery is at 9. So again, I set this up on my 3 last week, and then I got the 4 on Friday. I transferred everything over. And then the entire weekend, mind you, I set this up on a different device. The entire weekend, I received no notifications whatsoever. I'm like, God, what is going on here? I know
you had a good weekend then.
I know I'm getting messages. Like every once in a while, I'd remember to just like go into Android messages and I'd see something like, oh, and I'd reply. But I never really thought too deeply about it. But at a certain point, I was like, wait a minute, I've not seen a single notification since I got this phone. What is going on? And finally, it like occurred to me today. I launched this app at random, preparing for this show. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Went into the settings. And, when you transfer from one phone to the other, some of those settings persist. And the permission to have access to the notifications was granted in that transfer. And the time was not set. So the part of this app is that you have to select a time that all of your notifications will finally show through. But it had no time selected, even though I can't actually do that. If I wanted to right now set up no time, it wouldn't let me. So somewhere in the switch, it confused it. And so I got no notifications. Finally, when I turned it on, I had 444 notifications waiting for me. So there you go.
Amazing. That's amazing. This whole thing by Google is worth it just for this experience. So, all right. So we got 3 more apps to get through.
Yeah. Sorry.
This is an app that a friend of mine talked about literally when smartphones came out 10 years ago, which I think is finally someone made it well. It's called Unlock Clock, and it's a live wallpaper that counts the number of unlocks that you do. So if you ever need a metric to show you how much you often look at your phone, Unlock Clock will tell you how many times you've unlocked your phone.
Yeah,
that's genius.
Love it.
Genius. So all right, the next app is called WeFlip, and basically how this works is that all phones in a group have the app installed, and it's a social experiment for everyone to flip their phone at the same time. It's kind of weird.
It is weird, and I don't have that on here because I couldn't figure it out.
It's more designed for putting your phone down. That's the whole point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
then you understood it better than I did.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and then the last one is paper phone, which is this one is out there. So you use this at the start of the day, and you print a paper version of your phone's critical info to take with you, like the calendar, your favorite contacts, tasks, whatever, weather. So you don't need to take your phone out. You just print out your most important information, and you have a paper phone.
Using Google Cloud Print, I'm assuming.
Sure.
Yeah,
I feel like half of these are actually like really well thought out apps that actually can help with digital well-being, and half of these are kind of social experiments / making fun of you.
Here's my paper. Isn't it useful? It's got a little
Wow, you
notes.
have nothing going on, Jason.
No, apparently not. Yeah, my calendar didn't import. There's my phones. You're supposed to fold it this special way. There's the weather. I'm doing something wrong, obviously, because there's no information here. But I'm sure if I wasn't on a show, I'd do it right.
Sure.
There we go.
Cool.
Yeah.
So very cool. Digital well-being experiments. Half of them are cool. The other half are making fun of you.
Kind of weird. Yeah, making fun
Google.
of you. I think that's right.
Yep.
I kind of like the paper phone. Imagine if you were a college student and you were studying, or you needed, man, if I had this back in the day when I was writing, like a paper, just to know what was coming up. And I mean, I still would probably check my phone, but
Yeah. Well, I think the idea is that you print this out and then you leave your phone at home and you take your paper
Right.
phone to school.
Yeah.
Then you can't check your phone. But then you're going to be finding the Wi-Fi for your laptop everywhere you go. That's what you do.
didn't exist
All right,
when I was
Flo.
in college.
Next.
All right. So, hey, if you ever wanted to figure out how to use those motion sense gestures, now you can download a game to figure it out. So, Us2 Studios, the creators of the Monument Valley games, so you know you're in for something very beautiful, created a game to show off the motion sense and Soli tech in the Pixel 4 and 4 XL. The game is called Headed South, and you play as Soli, a unique bird on a mission to rescue unsuspecting wild birds from a dark approaching storm. Each bird is unique and requires special gestures to catch up to them in flight. Through Soli's journey, players will learn, practice, and master the use of quick gestures on the Pixel 4. And that was from the Google Play description. So the things that you can do, and we're going to have Jason do a demo for those who are watching the video. You can swipe left or right on the screen to steer a bird into the path of a bird in front of it. So, I mean, you got to save those birds.
So that bird's flying right in front of me. I'm trying to stay in its path.
And then at exactly the right time, you must wave your hand over the phone to bring the bird into your flock. This reminds me of those games where you have to like swipe at the right time with your thumb, like how you would flick or something to that sense, except instead of flicking, you're waving your hands in the air. But you do care because you need to save these birds from the dark forces or storm, which
dark
is a
forest
force. Which is a force.
Yeah. I mean, I played this game for like 20 minutes and I got pretty bored of it. It's
it's supposed to teach you how to use the gestures. It's a teachable moment, Jason.
Okay, is that what it is? Same for that Pokemon game? I'm assuming you probably played that more than I did.
I did, but it's, again, a teachable moment. You only get so many giggles out of Pikachu blowing you a kiss. I want more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and I mean, waving. There we go. I mean, waving the hand, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It's probably a teachable moment for the technology. It could go further. And I hope that it does someday. Although, since we're talking about it, I'm going to turn that off. Since we're talking about it solely, it's just a gimmick.
Oh, here we go.
It's just a gimmick.
Wait. Hold on, Jason. Okay. You tweeted that this weekend your kin were immersed fully in virtual reality.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to imagine a future. I mean, I realize daydream has kind of been sunsetted, whatever. But let's just imagine in a fantasy world that this technology were to just like be fully panned out, and then you put this into a sensor of some sort or whatever, and you got that VR headset on, and you're just using your hands freeform to move in this virtual world.
Okay.
Sans buttons.
All right. Okay, maybe, yeah. Then sure.
Just saying, we're in the beginning stages.
Okay,
and,
I know.
And
I guess
we are the learning experience. We're the teachable moment for Google, for those of us who have the Pixel 4.
Yeah.
So we're teaching Google what to do with this stuff. Unfortunately, we don't do very much with it right now.
I was going to say, you got that right. We're teaching Google a lot with this stuff, and you've got a point. I mean, what's going to come next is going to be the byproduct of what this experience is. So think about it that way.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what it leads to. I'd be really curious to see if the Pixel 5 has this in it still.
Probably not. Probably not.
Oh, that would seem like kind of a failure then, if that happens. But
but this is the thing, and we constantly fall into this trap as Google and Android users as we go, oh, is this like the next big feature? But like, we are the test beds for these things that are going to become something else down the line. I mean, we have all the basics down. We have the camera and the software, and
Yeah, I suppose so.
I'm just trying to spin it a little bit, just because I feel like we're all waiting for a big wow factor, and we have to remember that that's not really. I mean, I don't think it's a wow factor. I think it's just okay.
Yeah,
this is something that's happening.
Yeah, okay, this is something that's here. I will say that when it comes in handy is when my phone is on the table and I go to lift it up. Like the face unlock, in my experience, is actually really good. Like it's really fast.
It is.
And I will say real quick before we get in the arena, one of the places that I've really seen it shine, and they are a sponsor in the network, and so I'm not saying this because they are a sponsor at all. I'm just a huge fan and user of LastPass, but LastPass has built-in integration for face unlock. And what's so cool about that is, like, I go to a field, I tap it, I get my LastPass, passwords or whatever, or it says log into LastPass, and I tap the log into LastPass, and usually, you'd have to switch over and do the authentication. It catches my face immediately, so it's like, oh, that's you, and gives me. So it's just like this seamless kind of boop. We've verified you. Here are your login password, IDs or whatever, and you tap it. It's like one less step than I have to worry about. And for whatever reason, when you're managing passwords on a device, it's just the friction is so much less. It's actually really nice. So I'll give it that. If Soli's improving that, which it seems to be doing, that's nice. I'll be curious to see what it leads to. That's about the only reason that I'm happy that it's there. Otherwise, I'm kind of like, I could take or leave it.
Fair enough.
I'm not using it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, let's do this. Let's get into the arena, Burke, with the arena bumper.
But only one lives.
Good work, Burke.
Android Arena.
Twitch.to/AAA poll 443 is where you went last week to place your vote for your favorite app. And I'm just looking. I'm trying to get in there to see the results. Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. I post the results in the link that's right next to the thing. The next to that field is a different link, and it's a screenshot. Do that one. And it appears that PhotoStack wins at 49% of the vote.
Damn.
PhotoStack.
I'm going to do something that's unheard of. After being mathematically eliminated, I'm going to win the arena by the end of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. I can't tell you how, but I'm going to.
Oh, okay. All right. That'll be interesting.
Well, tell us the rest of the percentages, then I'll give you the points.
I'm trying to understand how you're going to do that. Second place, Virtual Reality at 38%. That would be Flow, right? That was your app?
Yes.
Right. And then third place, Reflecti at 13%. I am not going to make the gamble that I'm going to win by the end of the year. I just don't think that's going to happen. But there we go.
All right. So given that, though, the standings as they exist, Jason and I have been eliminated. I have 86 points. Jason has 89 points. Guests are in second place with 113. Does not bode well for them for not being here. And Flo continues to be in first place with 140 points, but it doesn't matter because when the dust settles in December, I will be the victor. So there you go. I don't care how math works, Wade County. I'm on another plane of existence now, man.
Yeah.
We're changing the game. We're changing what winning means.
Does that mean mathematically changing things?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We will see.
Ooh, no shenanigans.
But all I know is
I
get to know is that I don't have a legacy key. We have 3 apps to go through in the arena. I'm going last, and I'm also predicting I'm going to win again this week. So
all right. There's big predictions.
Big talk.
All right, I will go first then. My app is called Scripts. If you do a search for Drops Scripts, you will find the app. It's by Language Drops. This is just it's got an interesting design. This is another one of those apps that won the Material Design Award. But I like what it does. Like, I'm used to seeing a lot of language apps, and this is an app that teaches you how to write, also how to read, but how to write these alphabets of different languages. And I just like the approach of it. So I'm going to go ahead and launch into Scripts here. Drops Scripts. So we're going to jump into a letter from, how do you say that? Hiragana? Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Let's see here. Ka. Now it's going to give me the symbol for ka. All right. Ka. So I'm going to repeat it as they say it. Now I am given the opportunity to draw it. So I follow the lines. 2, 3. Ka. All right. Cool. I did that. Now we're going to do it again. And each time I begin to understand a little bit more, hopefully on a deeper level. At a certain point, it all disappears. All I have is the path. And maybe I didn't learn it well enough. And at some point, I believe it disappears entirely. I was trying to speed through that a little bit. Oh, key. No, it just goes on to the next one. I just appreciate kind of the drawing mechanism. You feel a little bit, a nice little haptic vibration when you nail the symbol, drawing it in. And there's a bunch of, let's see here, how do I get out of this? We're going to go out. We're going to quit. Go out to here. And you've got different languages that you can do. You could even do sign language, Chinese Hanzi, English ABC, of course. A number of different languages. Russian.
I've always wanted to learn Cyrillic.
Let's see here. Ah. Okay. Ah. Am I saying that right? Da. Okay. Let's do it. Da. Okay. Now, oh boy. This looks complicated. There's so many different things. Let's do that. Here, let's do that. Oh, I see. I'm matching it. Oh, so I've got, oh, I see. Okay, I should have got that right. I'm trying to determine which one is ah. I think I picked a really easy letter to do this with. Anyways, a number of different ways to kind of learn these alphabets and everything. As you can see, they kind of do different approaches with it. But it's called Scripts or Drops Scripts. If you do a search for that, you'll find it. There is a premium version. It's like a subscription model that gives you access to all of the languages. You get a limited set of access initially. So, but I just think it's a really great design and just kind of a satisfying app for learning these languages. Drops Scripts is the name. All right, Flo, you're up next.
Oh, I'm next. Oh, that's right. Because I didn't win last week. Okay. So I, again, have been trying to figure out what the heck my Google Play Pass is paying for. Okay. Granted, I'm locked into the $199 membership price right now, but you know what? One of these days it's going up to $4.99. So I want to know, what is that $4.99 paying for? So I use my phone actually when I post to social media, or I'm just like, trying to cut up snippets of my podcasts to kind of try and share them like on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. And because we don't have this ability on Android, because of the app that does it is iOS only, I'm always looking for a way to do it. So I found this app called Lexus Audio Editor, and it works it works a lot like Audacity. If you've ever used the free app on Windows, I believe it's for Mac too. And when you pay for it when you have a Google Play Pass, you get all the features of the paid version, which is really helpful. Now, I would not suggest you edit an entire podcast on this thing because, there's just so much more that you could do with a mouse and keyboard, in my opinion. But if you want to cut up a snippet of a long piece of audio and you want to like fade it in and fade it out, let's just say, like, you can do this. So, Jason, would you like to record yourself?
Yeah, well, I actually just recorded you.
Oh boy. Okay.
You're really supposed to let her know you're doing that, Jason. Legally.
Yeah, actually, in the state of California, you are supposed to.
Yeah, you're supposed to disclose that. Yeah.
I forgot that we were doing a show. I apologize.
In the state of California, where you have to do that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you can import things if you want to and mix in different things, but we're not going to make it super hard. So actually, I like what you did there, Jason. I like what you did there. You cut out a snippet. Okay. So I want you to go to the More button and tap on Trim. You scroll down and tap on Trim.
Inverse delete.
Yes. So now it's going to delete everything around that section. Boom. Great. Okay. Now we're going to add some effects to it to kind of make it sound a little good. Sound a little good. So why don't you go back to that More button and go into Effects and tap on Fade In.
Oh, the whole thing's going to fade in.
Boom. Okay, great. Now I want you to go back to those effects, and I want you to tap on Fade Out because we're going to do a Fade In, Fade Out effect.
Oh, I probably should have adjusted the...
It's fine.
Okay.
This is for demonstration purposes.
All right.
And now you can play it back and hear how it fades in. Does the audio fade out?
Yeah, it's a little quiet because you're coming in from across the room, but... This is what it sounded like.
Great. Well, now when you're done, just go ahead and save it.
Okay.
Go ahead and save that on there.
Oh, man, I really...
Perfect.
That was amazing.
Now you've got an audio clip of me fading in, fading out. You can do a couple of things on this. It's both a recorder and a player. You can delete, insert silence, trim, fade in, fade out, as we just did. You can do normalizing, noise reduction. You can record into an existing file, like on top of an piece of audio. And Jason, actually, if you stop recording, you can adjust the decibels, yes.
Oh, okay.
But if you stop recording and I don't know why it's not appearing, but if you import a piece of audio, you can tap the next to the red record button is usually a yellow record button, and that's when you're recording over it. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah. Features a 10-band equalizer, compressor. You could change the tempo, the speed, the pitch. It accepts audio formats including MP3, around 320 kilobytes, WAV, FLAC, M4A, AAC, and WMA. And video import, it works with MP4, 3GP, and 3G2 in case you want to get, some audio from something that you have on your phone. It says in the Play Store description that you need free memory to edit sound files. I've been doing this on the Pixel 3 that I still, as you saw last week, I still need to empty out. They suggest you have about 500 megabytes of free memory when you're tapping into this, which makes sense if you've ever used audio editing software on a PC. But other than that, it's just... You know what? It's just another great little app that exists in the Play Store that you get with your Google Play Pass if you're subscribing to it. If not, it has ads and in-app purchases. So, including the ability to save in the MP3 format. You can only do that if you're paying for it / Google Play Pass.
Right on.
Yes.
Nice. This is called Lexus Audio Editor. I'm going to try something here real quick,
Okay.
I promise, okay? So I'm going to start a new recording. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to say, Ron, it's your turn. Go. And I'm going to stop it. And now I'm going to, let's see here. Hold on. I think I know how to do this. Effects, pitch, lower, play.
Okay, Halloween.
All right. Yeah, it's
like
Halloween. So here we go.
Halloween.
I'll play it for the microphone. All right. So, Ron, it's your turn. Go in really low voice. All right. All right. There you go.
When we do our year-end wrap-up episode, we're going to talk about the trends of 2019 and the things that were big. No denying that one of the biggest topics in the world of Android, as well as all smartphones, was dark mode. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Okay. So recently, more and more apps are rolling out dark mode. Android rolled out support at the OS level for dark mode. But as we talked about earlier with Project Treble, not every phone is up to date. Not every app is up to date. Not every manufacturer has enabled dark mode across the operating system. Not every manufacturer or operating system has enabled dark mode within apps that have dark mode embedded in it, like Instagram. For a great example, I'm on the OnePlus 7 and I have the latest version of Instagram. I've not seen Instagram in dark mode because of those weird configuration gotchas. Luckily, there's this app called Dark Mode for Google Apps, Instagram, and more. And it's free. And what it does is it unlocks the power of dark mode that lies hidden within your phone. It is a very simple app. You can choose either day mode, night mode, or auto. And just before you do anything, Jason, don't go anywhere. Auto is that, every time we talk about dark mode, I talk about how great the Google News app is because it detects what time of day it is and what the light is and gives me dark mode when I want dark mode and light mode when I want light mode. That's what auto does. It's amazing. So if you go back and tap auto.
All right.
I'm
worried. It says your phone does not support the Android dark mode, which is wrong.
That's not good. I don't have that at all either.
What went wrong? Some phone manufacturers have deactivated or changed the behavior of the Android dark mode on their device. Because of this, the dark mode app can't on your phone. Oh.
Which phone is this?
This is the Pixel 4.
Well,
that doesn't make any sense.
This app is really more designed for people not on the latest and greatest, like the Pixel 4. So
okay.
You wouldn't have an older phone laying around, do you?
Well, not in here.
Well, so hypothetically, if you tapped auto and then you opened up Instagram, it would be in dark mode.
And it would just switch it for you?
Automatically.
Okay.
Well, it's on your phone. So here. I know we haven't done a whatever world.
Do it on your end.
But okay, so here is my phone. Wait, let me change my brightness. Hang on. Lo-fi, because this app is gonna win. All right. There you go. Okay, so there is my phone.
Okay.
Right?
It's on day mode.
I'm on day mode. Okay. I am going to switch it to auto.
All right. And Ron is switching it to auto. Ooh, I see a change.
So now it's on auto.
Okay.
Cool. So I'm going to go back to day mode just to illustrate this. So I'm on day mode, and I'm going to go to Instagram. And there's Instagram in day mode.
Yes, and a bunch of cows.
Now I'm going back to the dark mode app, and I'm choosing auto. I've now gone dark.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait.
I'm going to go. Here's my home screen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Instagram, and Instagram in dark mode. All right. So, and we can zoom away from me, Burke. I tested this today, and when I opened up Instagram at 4:00 in the afternoon, it was in light mode. And then when I opened it up again at 7:00 at night, it was in dark mode.
Nice.
It is working exactly how I want it to. It is amazing. Within the app, there is, supported apps. There is a list of apps that it supports. Instagram, Google Play, Google Fit, Google Pay, Google Photos. And I'm sure more and more will be added. But if you're a user of any of those Google apps or Instagram and you don't have dark mode yet on your phone, download this app. It unlocks dark mode.
There we go. Boom.
So there.
Yeah, don't drop that mic too much. That's your phone.
True.
And it'll break.
Yep.
There you go. Awesome pick.
Yep. Dark mode.
Basically bringing these features that you might not already have to your phone. and it is called Dark Mode for Google Apps, Instagram, and more.
Yep.
Good pick, Ron. We'll see what the voters think. Twit.to/AAA poll 444 to place your vote for your favorite app this week as it drops scripts, Lexus Audio Editor, or Dark Mode for Google Apps, Instagram, and more. Twit.to/AAA poll 444 and place your vote, and we'll check in on it next week. Burke, which one would you vote for?
Yeah, Burke.
Yeah, Burke.
Yeah,
Have an
Burke.
opinion.
Yeah, Burke.
Yay!
Burke he's an audio nerd.
Not
So,
cool, Burke. Not cool, man.
He voted
You said in the chat it was life-changing. How do you not vote for a life-changing app, Burke?
It's true. That's a good point. He's playing all sides of the game, basically.
He really is. He's playing all three sides of the middle.
The sarcasm rose, and I just needed to type that. I'm into the dark mode. I'm not into your dark mode app.
Oh, wow. It's not.
Oh.
That's the app equivalent of he's just not into you. It's not me. It's you. It's not my dark mode. It's your dark mode.
We both have our different dark modes.
Ouch.
Listen, Burke. We can still be friends.
Okay, let's try.
Is Burke still allowed to TD in the future? Ron?
Oh yes, it's exciting. I look forward to the next.
Okay,
transition.
all right, good.
Yeah.
All right, twit.to/AAA poll 444. It is Monday evening. It is now 10:10 for Ron, so we need to.
Not only is it 10:10, but the Dayquil wore off like 2 hours ago.
Oh my goodness, you need to get into bed, buddy.
Yeah.
It's time for you to go to bed. Those of you who have not already voted in the twit.community
what was the
poll.
results of that?
Well, yeah, so we can check in on that. I have it there in the sign-off section, Burke. So we got about 100 votes. So the idea, what's that?
It's not everyone.
It's not as many as the normal poll. The normal poll I'm seeing normally around 150 to 200. This is definitely less. No surprise, 91% of the people who voted on the Twit community want it hosted there.
I like the 9% on the Twit community who are like, no, I don't want that here.
Leave it in the other place. I got like
you 9% are my favorite.
I got a total of 2 emails to AAA at twit.tv that said don't do it.
Wow.
So I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Wow.
We're going to sit on it still. We're going to think about this. If you have any strong opinions either way, let us know. We fluctuate on this thing. We always give you the same URL. So it's kind of like you check it and see where it resolves. I don't know. Maybe one week we'll do the other one and just see how it goes. But I'm always open to playing around with new systems.
This is really funny. I like Bleak signed up for an account just to vote no. That's commitment to a bit right there. Good job.
Yes, good work, Bleak, and very on brand. But that is it for this week. Flo, thank you for wearing your conspiracy ears today. We really appreciate it. What's going on in your life?
Before this fire stuff started and then everything went haywire, I was going to come in as a cat on Tuesday. So anybody who comes to get candy this week will see me as a cat.
Dang it. Well, we kind of got you as a cat. Just the ears.
I didn't use the eyeliner to draw on the whiskers and fill in my nose.
I appreciate how you appeared on the show today. Anything you want to tell people about?
So I'm like in the throes of moving houses. So anybody who has been listening to Honestly Tech Pod at honestlytechpod.com, thank you so much. Missing this week just because there's so much going on. But you can catch up with me and what's going on with me at florenceion.com. There's links there for all the stuff I'm working on or I have worked on. There's links there to all my social media, my Twitch stream, which is coming back soon, hopefully as soon as this move happens. So that's where you can find me on the internet. And if you want to talk tech, I've got a Discord. It's a safe space. It's a nice place.
Just saying. Good luck with the move.
Thanks.
It can be stressful. I get it. Thank you, Flo. And Ron, what about you, sir, other than you're about to fall asleep?
I'm hanging on by a thread, people.
All right.
No, I'm getting over being sick over the weekend, which is fine. But hanging in there. Go to twitter.com/RonXO or Instagram.com/RonXO. Today, I posted a photo of the Christmas tree that went up above the Radio City Music Hall sign with the description, it's October 28th. So there you go.
Just getting earlier and earlier every single year.
Getting ahead of it.
Yep. Thank you, Ron. I hope you feel much better.
Thank you.
Get some sleep. And thank you, Burke. Appreciate you stepping in the capable shoes of Victor. You did awesome today. We appreciate everything that you bring to the show, even when you're not TD.
Yes, thank you, Victor.
And my name's not Victor. My name is not Victor.
He's thanking Victor for his weekly work on this show.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Look, I'm like ahead of the busy week that is, and just kind of getting my end of week confusion out of the way now.
You're wearing a hat today, by the way. Has nobody mentioned that Jason's wearing?
I was gonna let it go.
I kind of didn't expect that I would be doing the show today until suddenly I was. So
this has really been a roller coaster. Everyone needs to understand that. This was.
Hello, everybody. Top of the morning to you.
A nod to Jason's hat.
All right. That's it for this show. You can see me on other shows. I'm doing Twig all month, basically this week in Google, along with everything else. Security Now as well tomorrow. So lots of shows to look forward to. And yeah, we're gonna kind of ride this out and see how it goes with the power outages and stuff. So cross your fingers for us. But that is it for this week's show. This podcast publishes every Tuesday evening usually, and it will publish on Tuesday. I think it's actually going to be earlier in the day tomorrow. Subscribe at twit.tv/AAA. That's where you can go at any time to find all of the ways to subscribe, find our episodes, play them from the site, however you want to do it. Leave us voicemail at 347-SHOW-AAA. Send us email at AAA@twit.tv. And you can follow us on the socials, twit.tv on Instagram, @twit on Twitter, and so many other things. Just search for Twit and you'll find us. That is it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody.